Well, good morning, North Shore Cabinet. It's Thursday, March 26th, I think, 3, 4, 5, March 26th, Thursday. So it's fabulous to see you on this really glorious morning outside. And let's go ahead and start as we normally do with the North Shore Learns report from our regional assistant superintendents. And let's start this morning with the West. David Wellington. David, you're muted.
He's not even there.
There we go.
Is that better?
It is better.
All right. The only thing that I have to report today, I had an interesting conversation with one of the principals in the West, who today has, their teachers have set up a series of Zoom meetings for parents to participate in, establishing routines, managing anxiety, working with students in the home, things that parents have said we're interested to hear more from a teacher's perspective. And so they've just set up these Zoom workshops, as it were, which I thought was really interesting.
That's a great idea, David. Thanks for sharing. Let's go to Heather Miller in the South. Heather, how's the South doing?
Yeah, good morning. The South is great. I think there's a level of excitement of getting back to North Shore Learns. I have a couple principals that recorded a read aloud and a communication to their students that they are broadcasting today.
Oh, fabulous. That sounds great. So let's go to the East. Michael?
So as mentioned, our schools are still reaching out to our students and their families, identifying needs and connecting them with community resources as needed. Everything from, of course, food, but also diapers and wipes. Those seem to be in short supply. So schools are really working hard to support our families in any way they can.
Thanks, Michael. And that reminds me, we had a Raj who runs Kinder Connection, asked if we had a need for gift cards for families. That's one of our charitable partners in the community. So let's compare notes maybe when we're offline on how that could be really helpful. So we really thank Raj and that group as well. So Obadiah, what's up in the North? It looks a little blue there this morning.
I'm trying to fade into the background here. Everybody else has got all these fancy backgrounds. I just made my own.
It looks kind of like really distancing to the extreme.
Icy blue north.
Oh, got it. All right. There's no frostbite present, but it looks, now that you mention it, it looks a little cold.
Much as this other regions reported, principals and staff are very excited to launch North Shore Learns 2.0. They're excited to get back to working with their students around education. I talked to Mr. Fagundes, the principal at Kokanee yesterday, and he shared that they did a whole school assembly when they had about 500 students attend on Zoom, and he did a read aloud with all his students and staff that participated.
Did he share what he was reading aloud?
He probably did, and I probably don't remember.
Okay. All right, Obadiah, thanks so much. It's those little moments that capture, I think, our hearts even more than our minds sometimes. So much appreciated. Tracy Patterson, how are we doing in food services?
Morning.
Good morning.
We are up 500 meals today than we were yesterday. So today there's a total of 3,594. And
Wow.
So far to date, we've served 23,048.
So we've served over 23,000 meals, and now we're at 3,594 meals today?
That's correct.
Wow.
Tomorrow, we're going to be testing a new drive-by pickup location at North Creek High School, and that will be for Fernwood families and North Creek High School families. We coordinated with Transportation, Joe and his team, and Juliana and her team. And so hopefully it will go smoothly and we can start rolling that out in other locations.
Zeus. Sorry.
That's okay.
You know, feeding 3,594 people in one day, I mean, that's the size of small towns.
Yes.
That's really an amazing achievement. So just continuing to thank our heroic food service and transportation folks. That's really fabulous. It's keeping families going. Yeah. Joe, how about transportation and operations? And I know also yesterday you worked on a letter for essential employees.
Right. Yes.
Give us an update.
Yeah. So we're just continuing to support those efforts for the daycare and the food delivery. Many of our workers were a little bit worried about whether they would get stopped with the governor's order. So we did provide them a letter. I could actually share what the letter sort of looked like. Just a pretty basic letter stating that they're part of the school district, completing an essential function for an essential business.
Zeus.
And I think, we've gotten a lot of word from around the state and various enforcement agencies that they're not expecting to be stopping people for to check whether they're going to the grocery store or checking their IDs, those sorts of things. But we just wanted to make sure that our employees felt a little more comfortable that they had something, if they did get stopped, that they could prove that they were out on essential business.
Great. Thanks, Joe. And transportation still with the new drive-by or drop off at North Creek site. Are we going to be able to support that with staff?
Yes, I think we should. It'll actually make things better. Currently, with everybody sort of lining up, the buses pulling in, it'll just sort of make the flow a little better. I think it'll help keep them safe a little bit more if most of the people are in their cars rather than having them all congregate and line up. So it just makes the crowd flow a little bit quicker, a little bit more effective, and a little safer.
Yeah, it sounds like the social distancing is better able to be done. So thanks, Joe. Obadiah, student support sites and childcare.
Yeah, we have about roughly 15 students at each site, have 55 open seats left. We've been working, as I've shared before, with Evergreen and Everett Health to get some students in there. The YMCA's able to find a spot for a few preschool kids that were requested from Evergreen and Sorensen. So they've made some spots for a couple preschoolers as well.
All right, and staffing remains solid. We've continued to use good hygiene practices and health practices, so we're able to keep folks healthy.
Yeah, so far YMCA and Champions are able to keep staff coming in. They've been following practices. Families have been great about being thoughtful as they come in, and so far it's been running great.
That's great. Thanks, Obadiah, and also Kathy Davis for that support. So Chris Bigelow, how are we doing on student socialization supports?
So as we were getting back to Northshore Learns and meeting with some teachers yesterday, they want to continue to find ways for students to connect socially, not just scholastically, as we go back into online learning. So they are looking at students finding their clubs that they were in prior to us having to go online. They want to have Zoom sessions focusing on social isolations and just keep the students connected in various ways. I will say there's a lot of momentum out there for creativity. The meeting we had yesterday was very exciting.
Yeah, it reminds me, and I hate to digress, but I guess I don't hate it enough. But Bridges talks about that managing transitions, remember, and the neutral zone, that time between where we leave what we know, but we're not sure where we're headed yet. And that's a hugely creative time, which is what we're in right now, which can also be a little chaotic. So giving each other grace is going to be really continuing to be important. But thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Lisa, where are we in communications?
Unmute. There we go. Let's see. We're supporting the district, obviously, in the release of the new information on Northshore Learns 2.0 that's coming up, and we sent a message last night. Also, we are going to be supporting food services with regards to their drive-up pickup location, so that as many folks as possible know about this. The class of 2020 virtual call yesterday with you was pretty successful. We had more than 2,100, we're assuming students on board, and it was a lively conversation on the side, a lot of Minecraft mentions and waffles. And we're preparing for next Wednesdays, April 1st at 2 p.m. And we've already started collecting additional questions on the form. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Lisa. I know there was there were some questions around a Minecraft graduation and a Minecraft prom. The creativity continues to astound me for sure. So Alan, you're in front of a bridge. That must be a virtual backdrop. Any thoughts on technology updates, and what bridge is that?
Sure, that's downtown Bossel's bridge that goes over the slough there.
Nice.
For a day or a lifetime. So no big technology updates today, just kind of business as I suppose unusual for us here. I will say, just as a reminder to folks, if you're transporting computers with your kids, don't leave them in a car in a parking lot someplace where people can see them. Store them in your trunk, keep them safe. No water, no food around the computer. And if you're going to clean them, don't spray aerosol or stuff right on top of the computer. You'll fry the computer keyboard pretty quick order. So
Well, that's good advice. Thanks, Ellen. So business continuity, Mike Bailey.
Yeah, staff continues to work very collaboratively together, even though remote, and we're gearing up toward the monthly payroll, but it looks like staff is doing a great job resolving the issues that tend to routinely come up. A little more difficult to resolve those issues remotely, but again, they're tackling them. And so things continue to progress in a way that continues to support all of our great frontline staff and keep them able to do what they need to be doing.
Okay, perfect. I know we're also working on DocuSign. Tracy Patterson is working on that for us to be able to virtually sign and route documents as well. So appreciate that. Doug, HR updates?
I can second what Mike said. I got a message from HR data management, and the work is being done in order for payroll to happen. No glitches. It's not as efficient, but it's going forward. So that came today, which is good. And I just want to call out members of our team that worked until the evening yesterday to get the MOUs done. Tracy Malloy, Tracy Patterson, Amity, Dugan, Elaine, as being really great partners in getting that work done. And I'm couldn't pick anybody else that I'd rather have to work with on something like that.
Great, thank you, Doug. So Tracy Malloy, how about professional development as we're moving into our next iteration of Northshore Learns? Any updates?
Yes, so I'll be working with the Northshore Learns team to talk about and have them start working on professional development that will support good practices in distance learning pedagogy or strategies for engaging kids in distance learning environments. I also will be working with other members of our curriculum and instruction and assessment team, and I'll check with Obadiah Dunham, of course, before I make those contacts, but there will be opportunities for additional professional development for educators. And then I will also continue to connect with other individuals. I know that Dr. Bigelow, for example, has spoken with Connie Knoll in transportation about some ways to provide professional development for members in the transportation department, but I also know that there are individuals in our support services who might also appreciate the opportunity to engage in online learning in some way, shape, or form to keep their skills sharp during this time. So those plans are moving forward.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Dugan, any updates from your corner?
Just been busy, kind of behind the scenes, working, trying to determine the business impacts, the revenue impacts of this crisis, the impacts on our construction, managing facilities access. And I would just second what Doug said, the teamwork with not just the NSD team, but the NSEA team and the NEOPA team that went on yesterday to allow us to roll out what we'll roll out later today was phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've continued all of our leadership across the district, both district leadership and association leadership have really worked hard with the honestly dynamic and conflicting messages, both from the state and federal government on a variety of regulations. So I think for us to have the opportunity to sit down and sort through those and be able to figure out what works for Northshore was really positive. So really grateful for our teamwork and our ability to focus on our students and doing what's best for our students in a way that's sustainable for our staff as well. Anyone else have anything to add at this point? Are Christy and Crystal on the line or on the meeting? It's hard to see. No, okay. I do also want to thank all the seniors that hopped on our Zoom call yesterday afternoon, as we had over 2,000 of you on the call, and look forward next Wednesday at 2 o'clock to having some answers for you to a number of the questions that you asked that we didn't already have answers for. And Heather Miller will be on the State Board of Education webinar this afternoon and capturing any data and forwarding questions as well, so that we can tie down as many things that we know as possible while we deal with those things we don't know. So anyhow, let's have a fabulous North Shore day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.